So Francesco, I wanted to ask you, what do you think are the ways in which legal instruments can actually help us, help the government protect minorities and migrants from discrimination experiences and inequality?
Well, this is a very tricky question actually, because it's like a chemical reaction. You put an element into another one and suddenly you have a blue or a red or a green color reaction depending on the substance. So wherever you put a legal instrument, its effect actually depends on a number of elements that are meta-legal. They are not completely legal, at least. So you need to be aware of the whole system, how it works, what are the implicit paradigms that are used to make these legal instruments for minority protection work.
So you think sometimes you may have the unintended effect of having a backlash, so you might try to, for instance, protect members of a minority or migrants from a certain problem in the workplace, and instead achieve the opposite effect, that you maybe increase xenophobia or you increase inequality.
Or segregation. Well, nowadays the debate on affirmative actions, for example, is very topical, and there are many different views on the same system, whether this helps groups that have been disadvantaged in the past, or whether it discourages competition and meritocracy. So it really depends on how the whole system works, and that's why I think it's important not only to look at the instruments, but how they work in practice. So this is the actual topic of what I've been talking about here.
Indeed, speaking about practice, now you come from an academic background with a strong public engagement, of course, but now you, as a member of the Senate in Italy, you'll have really the hands-on experience. Going back to our training experience, what do you think are the advantages of having in the same room as students, so to speak, people who come from a more academic perspective and people who come from a real-life perspective, like business, NGOs, people working in government?
This is an extremely interesting methodology, and I think there is, on the one hand, nothing more practical than a good theory, but on the other hand, the theory alone cannot achieve much. So it is important to have an interaction and to see also how practical problems are dealt with in different contexts. And sometimes even academics can give good advice. So it is extremely fruitful, I think, for both components to interact with each other.